All right, Jev, it is good to be back. Season 2024 is just upon us. We will be going through every single team. We'll be giving our little preview, Jev. We cannot wait. We're going to start in alphabetical order. How has the off-season been?
Oh, it's been absolutely great. I absolutely love that footy's back. We're in the new year. You can smell footy. It's like 6 weeks away till Swans Melbourne open the season on that round zero. Sun's out. There's content on social media. We can see the nick the players are in. Like, I can smell it. Footy is so close. I'm absolutely pumped. What about you?
Mate, I was talking today with a guy at work about the Blues and just like how that final was and like how we were so close for some different things, some round one things. And I just like genuine goosebumps. And now that we've actually done a few notes and stuff, Jev, I am so excited. So let's crack into it. So we're going to start in alphabetical order, as we did say. We're going to start with Adelaide, Jev. So they finished 10th on the ladder. Okay, they finished with 11 wins, 12 losses, probably was so stiff to miss out on finals. Probably one of the best 10 sides of all time, Jev. We're going to start off competition A graders. Who would you rate?
Before we fully start, so we've got a report card and more. We'll put it on social media. We're going to do the exact same report card for every team and fill it in how we think it goes. And then you can listen to every team, you can listen to your team, but short and sharp, report card, what we think. So, yeah, we're going to start with competition A graders. Das, I think Jordan Dawson is their only competition A grader for mine. And this isn't so much stats-based, it's more eye test-based. He's the catalyst that transformed that place. He seems like a phenomenal leader with high standards. He'd be a top 5 midfield kick, and I don't know if the stats back that up, but you see when he kicks to Tex and Darcy Fogarty or Rankin, he always kicks perfect to the player that needs the kick. You can tell he works so hard on his game and on his kicking. It's like he is not the perfect player, but that's what makes him the perfect player in a way, because he just works so hard in his game. He's such a good leader. He's just the footballer's footballer in my eyes. He finished on 20 Brownlow votes and made All-Australian. He's their only competition A grader for me. What about you, Das?
Judging off last year, as I said, not sure if he can replicate it. I 100% agree. Jordan Dawson, obviously they had 2 All-Australians. So Dawson finished on the interchange, and then they had Tex at centre-half forward, Jev. That was one of the best seasons, or his greatest season, but from a veteran that probably should have got knocked out, or who they thought that was actually going to get cut from a few off-field things and just his form. What an unbelievable season. But to start off with Dawson, Jev, he loves the ball in his hand, and you are absolutely correct. Every single time he gets the ball, he's their quarterback. He slices and dices. 17 kicks a game he's averaging, which is elite in the comp, and also 6.6 score involvements. So, even when he's on the half-back line or coming into the midfield, he makes sure that his forward get the ball, and his number one target is Tex, Jev. From a key forward, this is unbelievable. 2.9 inside 50 marks a game, and the biggest thing here is 3.5 goals he averaged last year. For most big forwards as well, he's above average 58.9% in front of goal, which is huge. I think last year was probably his greatest season he will ever have.
Yeah.
There will look to be a little bit of a decline, but if you're looking at A graded from that point, got to give him the benefit of the doubt. The season he had, there's only 2 big key position spots in the All-Australian side. He gobbled up one of them. I would still say he's a competition A grader until further notice.
And he was leading the Coleman medal going into the last game of the season where Charlie Cameron beat him. So that's a hell of a season. So our next question is position A graded. So I had Tex as an A grade key forward, but not necessarily a competition A grader. Not disagreeing with you, but just a little bit of a 2024 prediction. I just think the slightest decline. I've also got Isaac Rankin in there. I reckon he's an A-grade small forward. And then the only one I got a bit of a question about is, would you call Rory Laird an A-grade midfield? I think he's right on the cusp. He's a possession getter. He's a beautiful kick. He's a good player. Is he that full A-grade? I think that's probably the 50-50 one. What about you? Position A-graders.
Position A grader for that small inside midfielder, for what he does, accumulation, inside ball, I think he would be a position A grader, because there's different sort of midfielders. Like you might have like a Cripps, a Green, an Oliver, but those smaller sorts, I think for that position A grader, I would agree. And Isaac Rankin 100%. There's not too many pure small forwards in the game that are going around, but as we looked at, especially from a betting point of view, Jev, he was a 2-15 club, yeah?
Yeah.
Average 15.9 disposals. One big thing here, like average 1.8 goals a game, which is elite for that. Yeah. But the biggest thing I reckon you want to look at, and you look at someone, we'll go in when we look at GWS, but tackles inside 50, he's only averaging just under 1.
Yeah.
So I think for his game this year to definitely go to an All-Australian potential, I reckon think if you're looking at Isaac Rankin, you want him to be getting maybe 1.5 to 2, maybe even 3 inside forward 50 tackles a game as a small forward to elevate himself into that position. What do you reckon?
Yeah, but to be fair to him, geez, he introduced himself to the Crows fans well. He had a hell of a season. He should have won that showdown medal. I think he kicked 5 in the showdown in his first showdown.
You had him for the medal. He
No,
didn't get it.
I was still robbed. That's how I know. I think he's only going up. He turns 24 this year. He is going to be beloved in Adelaide this year. So we're predicting a big season for Rankin.
Notable role players. I don't know how many you want to talk about, but if there's any on your list, let's hear it.
So the role players, Das, is for me what makes Adelaide tick. So like Ben Keys, Chase Jones, Ned McHenry, Lockie Scholl, Jake Saligo, and our man Lukey Pedlar. The guys that play on the flanks and the wings and forward pocket, but work so hard for their team to get it to that superstar forward line. I went and looked at a couple of games last year of the Telstra tracker. I just picked random games, the showdown against Melbourne, and it was always Crows guys busting their ass, like 3 of the top 5, like Jake Saligo and these guys just work so hard. So like when we say notable role players, I always think like Kane Lambert was so important to Richmond winning premierships. Or when Nat Fyfe won a Brownlow, remember he got up and he thanked Matt DeBoer and Tendai Mzungu because they went and did his defensive work and just let him dominate. Like these are the guys that win premierships, the guys we're looking for, these absolute workhorses. And then there's some guys in the back line that are so underrated. Mitch Hinge, we absolutely love Mitch Hinge, Dash. And then Max Michaelini, I am huge on this guy. I think he had an awesome rookie season. And it's like, he's like a back pocket that looks like he's about 6'1", 6'2", but he's skinny. So he plays on smalls. He plays on forward talls. He'll play on medium size. He'll play on any position. And I just think he is golden for the Crows this year. I absolutely love Max Michaelini.
Pretty much hit the nail on the head. They're a team of role players, aren't they? They've got their guns, but they've got a really good team of role players. Luke Pedlar, Jev, hard as a cat's head, never met contact he didn't like. And he was unbelievable for a snag every week. So if you can spread around those goals like him, as you did say, Saligo, a few of those other guys, massive role plays. And all he needs to do is get his hands on the ball a little bit more to impact more. But the other one was Wayne Malira for me. In the back line, what a link player, and how sturdy was he down back to get the ball and go. Like sometimes he got burnt on some of those smaller players if they were a bit faster, but Wayne Malira had an unbelievable season, I thought, last year, Jev. But they're one of our favourite teams to watch, the Crows, for a reason. They're a team of role players, and you can tell when you watch it. They're not top heavy, and they're really coming to their own last year, and I cannot wait to watch them this year.
So we've got young guns as a question. Talk to me about the young guns, Das.
Well, there's a lot of other guys. Well, obviously, they've got their number one recruit this year, but I want to see a very big season from Josh Rochelle.
Absolutely.
Massive season from him. We saw sparks of him, like he comes out, kick goals, but then we were going to get him in the 2 and 15 club. We had him in Rankin, If they kicked the goal, we would have got a New Jersey. So, look, he had that off-field thing or whatever he said, and he missed a few games, but I feel for him and the youth of the play, like if he can almost be a new senior player in that side, if he can take that leadership role on. He almost seems like someone they might want as like a captaincy down the track. He loves Adelaide. They love him. I think he's their number one young gun, and he can definitely put Adelaide on their back.
Yeah, I feel I've got him, he turns 21 this year. Like he's ready to explode.
That's so young.
I feel like it's like he thought he was Nick Dacos, or he got the Nick Dacos treatment, and then he had a bit of a down year. And I think he's been, I hope, maybe a little bit humbled this offseason, and he's just really going to become a workhorse and a gun again and just get back to the basics and not make it about the me at the crowd and stuff, even though you don't want to kill his personality. But it's what the team needs, and then his flair can show from there, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
And then I've got Max Michaelini. He turns 20 this year. I'm so high on him. Isaac Rankin's about to turn 24, so he's about to hit his prime. Josh Rochelle, 21. And then Dan Curtin, their pick 6. He has star written all over him. He can shore up that back line even more. I hope he plays all 23 games of the season. He doesn't get injured. Super excited to watch Dan Curtin play. He could be like a centre-half back for the Adelaide Crows for the next 15 years easily.
Well, he could have. Well, they thought he was going to probably go pick 2. He looks like he could just be a plug-in Jacob Wiedering down back.
Yeah, absolutely.
just a lockdown. He's fucking massive. So can't wait to see him on that one. Now, Jev, we haven't really put any context with this one, but on the cheat sheet for this, the depth. I don't know how you want to talk about it. Any, like maybe forwards, backs, mids. I don't know. But Adelaide's depth. Jev, what do you got for me?
It just says depth question mark. And I wrote, this is a hard one, but I'm going to go to their midfield depth. And it's what worries me about the Crows, but also excites me. Like, I think Jordan Dawson and Rory Laird are sort of their only two midfielders in a way. But then I reckon they nearly have 10 more midfielders that would all be training like midfielders this preseason. And hopefully a few take the next step. Like, as we say, Josh Rochelle, we see Isaac Reagan going to centre bounces. We got Ben Keys, Chase Jones, Lockie Scholl, Jake Saligo, Luke Pedler. Like, I'm so excited to see who's going to grab that midfield spot or what the committee of midfielders is going to be at the Crows. But I do worry about their depth. Like, you saw some games after it was, if Rory Laird or Jordan Dawson had a quiet one, you sort of questioned who their midfielders was, especially if you come up against a Viney, Oliver, Petrarca, Brayshaw. Like, that is a deep midfield. So you got to have your midfield depth. But I'm excited for them. Who are they going to find there, Das?
Well, they've got so many other young guys that can come through. I just think that because they've pretty much, they don't have too many more people I don't think they have to pay.
Yep.
Like, so many of those guys are on bigger contracts. So I just think that they're real happy with in-house how they're going. There's another thing that I'll touch on why I think that their midfield depth might be all right just because of the way they've played. They almost showed their cards a little bit last year. But the depth for me, Jev, it's ongoing. So their big key forwards, how long can Tex hold on to the forward as the number one forward?
Yep.
Thilthorpe, they've been talking about it for years, and Fogarty. Like, what one of those boys this year is going to step up? Tex a little bit older. You don't know. He might go down with a niggle. We hope not. But that three-pronged forward, if we only have another good year of Tex, what one of those guys is going to take the mantle? You know what I mean? Like, they're two really good players on and off. Thilthorpe, he's like, they just put him everywhere. So he hasn't really established exactly where they want him to play. But I just want to know, if they go down a big key forward, how much depth do they have in that big key position? Their smalls and mids can kick goals, but they're going to need one of those boys to really step up, I think.
Yeah, you got to be excited about Lockie Fogarty. Geez, he kicks a nice set shot, doesn't he? You just
100%.
I just love watching him. And it's like, if he marks inside 50, he goes back and slots these. So, yeah, I agree. I agree with you completely. The next question, a dark horse All-Australian or just an All-Australian you reckon you might have in the side, Das? Who you got?
This might seem a little bit funny because I haven't really heard of this man before last year, but I believe a dark horse could be Mitch Hinge.
Yes.
Hear me out. 2021, Jev, Alir.
Yep.
All-Australian halfback. So they're both about 186, 190 centimetres, both about that 90 kilo mark, okay? So over 6 categories as a defender, I've looked at disposals, intercept possessions, intercept marks, metres gained, rebound 50s, and one-on-ones. Mitch Hinge's year last year compared to Alir All-Australian 2021, they're 3-3.
Yep.
So they've split both the categories. So disposals, Mitch Hinge is almost getting 20. Alir had 15. So they know they trust him with the ball. Intercept possessions. Last year, Mitch Hinge had 7.2 intercept possessions a game on average, which is elite.
That's elite.
Alir had 8.6. Intercept marks, Mitch Hinge is only getting one of those. Alir had 3.6. But the biggest one that we want to see here, Mitch Hinge, if he's wanting to make an All-Australian, he was only winning one-on-one a game as a defender.
Yep.
Alir in that year, he was winning 5 on average a game in that All-Australian year. So I think if for Mitch Hinge to take the next step, his disposals, he's getting it, but that massive one is the one-on-ones. If he can start to really win one-on-ones, like 5 compared to 1 a game, you know, when Alir had that season, whether it was packs, he was just coming through intercepting and you're just like, fuck, this guy's unbelievable. Like that finally had. If Mitch Hinge can do something like that and we start to notice it, you might want to put his hat in the race for an All-Australian as a dark horse. That's my early one, Jev.
Let's go. I love that.
Who are you thinking?
I've got Isaac Rankin written down here, Das. If he stays fit for 90% of the season, I reckon he's close to a lock. So Charlie Cameron made it last year kicking 59 goals. So if Isaac Rankin kicks 50 goals, the Crows make finals, and he attends a few more centre bounces like Papley does, and he averages 15 touches again, I think he's going to make All-Australian. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so bullish on him this year. He's a star.
They can almost do a Stengel. Like
Yeah,
he can
absolutely.
just have that sort of season and just have a real deep run. All right, one here, Jev, coach and captain. How do you see that they roll? Dawson, Nix, talk to me.
Yeah, so I think Jordan Dawson is a top 5 captain in terms of the way the team follows his lead. I think he's got a grip on just the Adelaide Football Club. They love him. They follow him. And then I don't know where to rank Matty Nix as a coach, Das. He can clearly coach, but one thing I absolutely loved last year was close games, one-score games, 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, whatever. He just put the phone down and left it in the hands of Jordan Dawson and the players. Tells me they clearly work hard on that stuff at training and they're on the same page and what they need to do in those situations. I really like that about him. I like that he doesn't try and control the game. It's like, it's out of his control now. We've worked on this at training. Jordan, take over and lead on the field. And I do like that about Matty Nix. It's a good way. You can't be too controlling as a coach. Like Nathan Buckley spoke about it all the time. He tried to do everything. You got to leave it in the hands of other people. What about you? What did you write down for coach captain?
Yeah, I just think, well, obviously, since he came in 2019, they finished 11th, 18th, 15th, 14th, and then 10th last year. So they've gone in a bit of a progression after, so 18th, 15th, 14th, 10th, if you're just looking at last year. And I think that the way that he was trying to coach, obviously, they've got a few more players in the club, but Dawson, obviously, as you said, like if he wants to go in the middle, he does. And he's a massive coach on field. But the way that they're implementing the game, like he hasn't obviously stuck with the same structures. He's obviously trying to adapt, and they definitely have their formula now. They want to run, they want to hold on to the ball, and they don't let other teams get it. They do not let other teams possess the ball. Other oppositions are bottom 3 in possessing the ball in games that Adelaide play, and Adelaide are top 3 in disposals, kicks, time of possession in a game. So you know that's how they want to play, and they're trying to not let the team have the ball. They over highly possess because they like the way that they all use the footy, and then they're obviously trying to structure that in. We love the way that they played last year. If they won a couple of those smaller games, we had them finishing top because obviously those 4 points would flip. Massive upside for them this year. Cannot wait for them to get another preseason. But I think the way that he's obviously taken over that club, because what do you have in 2020? They finished 3-14 in that COVID year. Like they packed it in. They packed in the arse, won 7 games, 8 games and 10. So obviously he's adapting. The players are buying into what the formula is. And I think that they're all systems go, Jev.
Let's go. So strength of schedule. You've got this one, Das. What does their strength of schedule say?
So there's like a few apps that I've looked through, so like Fox Footy and a couple others that have gone through rating from where the opposition finished last year, and then depends on how many times they got to double up. So from 1 is the easiest and 18th is the hardest based on the 2023 percentages and teams you play twice. It says Adelaide has the 13th hardest schedule coming into next season.
So it's a tough schedule or an easy schedule?
Tough schedule.
Yes, so 13th, ranked 13th. One's easiest, 18th.
So 13th ranked.
13th ranked,
13th ranked, yeah.
Right, so, so then we've both written down notable home games. So I can see, I looked through the home games, so they've got Brisbane, Melbourne, Geelong, GWS, Swans, all teams that are going to be around that, in the top 8. They get them at home, so they'd be extremely happy with that. What did you write for notable home games?
Yeah, Geelong round 2, Melbourne round 4, Port, which is obviously the showdown, which they do get again later in the year, but they get Brisbane at home, which is a good one. They get the Swans at home and the Giants at home. Bulldogs, we're not really sure where they are, but all those sides you think will be fighting for a top 8 spot. Getting them at home is absolute gold. How much better are they at home? The Crows are either really good at home or at the G. Anywhere else, don't get them to play in Gold Coast because they absolutely hate playing up there.
Or
Got the
Darwin.
Dogs and Gold Coast every single season.
Yep. And then notable away games. What did you write for notable away games?
Well, it's pretty much everything else. Like they've got to go play the Blues, they've got to play the Pies, a few of those other big sides. But even last year, you show that they can go to the G and they can push sides and they want to be playing finals. And if they're not finishing top 4, they're most likely going to have to play away. Majority of teams are in Victoria. They're probably going to have to play there. I think that they're excited to try and become a team on the road, almost trying to adapt what GWS have done. They're pretty much the first team in a long time that say anytime, any place, anywhere. I don't think Adelaide want to be just the home beaters at home. I reckon they're going to want to go away from the road and actually prove themselves. What about you?
Absolutely. Yeah, just notable away games. I wrote Carlton Collingwood Lions, all tough, all bloody hard to win away from home. Then they have Geelong at GMHBA at the end of the year, the new GMHBA stadium, and then they've got the Swans at the SCG last round of the year. So I just hope they're locked into, if they're going to be in finals, they don't want to be playing the Swans at the SCG to get into the finals. They want to be locked in by then, is all I wrote.
That's good. So with this one, so now we're going to go through what we think their floor is, what we think their ceiling, and what we think their over-under is. And then obviously where we sort of come into the middle. Hopefully when the odds come out, if it's anywhere near there, we have pretty much our number that we want to try and hit. So what do you think their floor, so their bottom?
Yeah, so their schedule at home, they will not be worse than 7-5. Like 7-5 is like their floor at home. And then away, they still get Freo, North, Hawks, Essendon. They're a 12-win team at minimum, Das, I reckon. 12-win team at minimum. What about you?
Yeah, I'd a minimum of 13-10.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where the Blues finished last year and a few of those other sides. So Blues, almost Swans. So we obviously had a big peak towards the end of last year, which obviously made us get there. So I think they're definitely making finals this year. It has to be the progression. I think anywhere between that 13 wins will finish within like those bottom 4-8 sides. I think that's their floor. They're definitely playing finals. What do you have their ceiling?
Yeah, so their ceiling. So they've got 12 home games. Well, nearly 13 with the second showdown. So there is no reason they can't be 11-1 at home. Like the Lions didn't lose at the Gabba last year. Then 11 road games where they could go 7-4. I actually think they could be, 18-5, 17-6 side if they improve on last year. Like they turn those close losses into close wins. Their ceiling is an 18-win team. Do you agree?
Yeah, I've got them 17-6. I think there's always a team that comes in that jumps in. I've just seen those Collingwood, Brisbane, they sort of established themselves for a few years and they were those 18, 19. I see them, they're ceiling about 17-6. They're still a pretty young side. So that'd be the equivalent to like a Port Adelaide or a Melbourne.
Yep.
So finishing third or fourth on the ladder, that would, I think, be their ceiling. I still think they're going to be a really good contender. I don't see them finishing top 2, but I reckon their ceiling is about 17-6.
All right. Over, under, what have you got? How many games you got them winning?
I've got them winning 15. I reckon their over-under is going to be about 14.5.
I wrote down here, I reckon they'll win about 15 to 16 games. And if their over-under is 14.5 or under, we are smashing the over.
Yeah, love it.
Love it. Hot take on the Crows, Das.
I do, Jev. We're going to go through. I like to have a look at some numbers and some things and some projections. I think Melbourne are going to be, I think the Crows are going to be a really good side this year and they're going to double down in what they're good at. So if you look at some midfield combos, Butters, Rosie, Petrarca, Oliver, not sure about that one, but Bont, Libba, Sarong, Brayshaw, Green and Cogs, Walsh and Cripper, Neal and Dunkley, Newcomb and Day, DeGoey and Dacos, Laird and Dawson will be a top 2 midfield combo by the end of the season. They have a bit of a yin and yang going on, Jev, and this is why. Contested possessions, Rory Laird is elite. Score involvements, elite. Clearances, 6.4 elite, and disposals. The way he uses it, and he uses it really well. He's 6.7 score involvements a game. On the flip side, Dawson is the exact same, but he's more of that outside, and he's pretty much polar opposite. So his meters gained is elite, but all those other factors within that game, I think that they're going to double down on what they're good at. Exactly what I said. They're number 1 in kicks, number 1 in disposals, time of possession. How much does Rory Laird get the ball?
Yeah.
Within those stoppages? He gets it and goes. But on the flip side, so I think they will be a top 2 midfield. Rank those two at the end of the season, but that will also be their kryptonite. How people could stop Neal if he stops getting clearances. I think if they shut down these two, Adelaide go to soup. So if you see that this year, don't be surprised. But I think these two are going to get off the leash. They're still in their prime. They're the leaders of this side, top 2 in the league, I reckon, Jev. What about you?
Das, I'm scared they're going to miss finals again. I think
after all that.
I think the competition is going to be unbelievably good this year. I'm scared they're going to miss it again. And the way we've been talking and pumping up their role players, if they don't take that tiny leap and some teams go past them, I'm actually scared they might miss finals again. And I wrote down a question without notice for you. Is it more likely they win a final or miss finals?
Oh, I think win a final.
You
I think
it's
more
likely
likely
they
to
win a final?
I think they're going to be close. Like they could be. I think they're going to finish middle of the pack in the finals, and then I
Sort
definitely
of
think they
maybe
can,
fourth, fifth, sixth.
yeah.
Okay.
Whether it's a home final or not, if they finish fifth and they get a home final, I think they will. Just think progression. Looking at them last year, Jev, if they pinch a couple of those games, they've finished top 4. So
Yeah.
I think they're more likely to finish with an end of season with a win than miss. What about you? To answer your own question,
Yeah, I find this
you
one
lead
hard.
finals.
Find it so hard. I think it's more likely they miss finals than win a final. But
Wow.
we'll see.
All right, that's fair.
We'll see. Let's get into the big lines.
Question without is this text last year? Is this it?
Nah. If it goes to plan and they make a final and they lose a heartbreaking final away from home, he's got one more in him, I reckon. He looks like he keeps himself pretty fit, and he's a pretty simple footballer. He just marks it and he just goes back and slots them, doesn't he? Like,
He's got the best set shot.
he's just a beautiful set shot. All right, let's do the Lions.